So what's the most amount of money you made in a year?
Our annual revenues were 12 mil a year back then, right before our company got acquired.
How much did you get acquired for?
$30 million. At that point of time, I was 33 or 34.
How did that feel for you at that point?
I mean, it was a great validation that what we did is something of value, and financial success was always something that I was striving for. But truth be told, at that point of time, the day we got the money, the very next day we went back to work as though nothing happened at all.
Wow.
We were just like working on stuff as per usual.
Answer my next question. So the money didn't really change you much.
Not at that point in time, no, not at all. In fact, I think it kind of made me do something that I guess people don't normally do when they get money. And that was just to eschew everything and become very, very minimalist.
Really? So you sold everything away and started to live a minimalistic life.
So after I left, so the company was sold in 2017, I left in 2018. In 2018, I sold away everything I had. All the possessions I had could fit into 2 duffel bags. I took 1 duffel bag, left another at my parents' place, and I just went traveling full-time around the world for 2 years.
What industry were you in?
I was in the hosting industry, so we did web hosting, email hosting, cloud hosting, basically providing service for people.
And how long do you take to scale and exit the company?
Many years. We started the business when we were 17. He was my schoolmate. At 17 years old, we were in poly. We had 3 years of school, after which we had national service, and then both of us went to universities. So it was more like a part-time business then. And then when we were about to graduate, we started like hustling and doubling down on the business and trying to make it grow.
What's the lowest point in that journey for you?
That was when I think about 80-90% of our traffic disappeared. We were very reliant on SEO, on search engines like Google, primarily Google. And then one day we got blacklisted because we used a SEO agency that was black hat and we didn't know. And one day we just woke up and found that we got banned from Google. So it took about 3 to 6 months, I think, and for that period we just had 0 search engine traffic.
Your employees to feed at that time as well.
Yeah, we had fixed costs. Everything was still like the cost-wise, everything was still there. It was just that like 80% of our traffic suddenly disappeared, so we had to scramble. Number 1, try to get ourselves unbanned, and number 2, try to diversify and really like find other ways of getting like traffic.
What's that highest point in your journey then?
I think that was when we realized that we could actually create something that was very, very systemized. Very early on, I think I found out that materialism didn't really bring me a lot of joy and it caused me a lot of problems actually. So then I started focusing on creating systems around the business, making sure that it performed like an organization. It's very different from a startup because in a startup it's all about the founder, but in an organization you want it to be not about the founder at all. So to create a really systemized business was my goal, and that was something that we achieved, and even leading up to the exit as well. So even in the exit, I think one of the proudest things that we had was that my co-founder and I, we were not necessary at all.
Wow.
We had no earnout. The acquirer was very happy to let us go, and to us, I think that's something that we're actually very happy about because the typical case is that the founders, the operators, they usually have to stay on and they are bounded to stay on, usually with an earnout clause, but we didn't have that.
Related question, but what was the key strategy for you scaling from 0 to 8 figures?
It differed from time period to time period, but we always focus on the main core priorities that the business had. And the core priorities at that point of time, we wanted to make sure that there's great support for our customers. We provided great stability, our speed was awesome, and security was always there. So no matter what we did on our business, whether it's like hardware, manpower, our policies, it all revolved around these 4 pillars. And no matter what stage of growth we were at, that was something that I think kept us on track.
That systems building, essentially.
Yeah.
And you wrote a book about it, Super Scaling, which I've read. Do check it out, guys. It's still available for purchase.
Yeah, still available on superscaling.com/book. It's available on Amazon, Kino, Popular.
What's the difference between, say, a 6-figure, 7 or 8-figure entrepreneur?
That's a really good question because it really depends on the time period that your business is in. usually at the start, the founder doesn't have the time and the ability to really grow the business. And when they hire, they have to hire people that actually help them with their weaknesses. So for example, if I'm growing my business and I'm not a finance guy, finance will probably be one of the first areas that I want to hire for, so that I don't have to worry about that, and I can double down on my strengths, which lie in other areas. But as the business starts growing, when you get to 7 figures to 8 figures, and your team grows, you're no longer hiring for your weaknesses. You're starting to hire for your strengths. So in the past, maybe you're a great marketer, a great strategist, a great operator. Now you're going to start to hire people that are better than you in those areas. And I think it's one of the key things that you must do. As an operator, as a business owner, you must be able to let go and start to hire people for that. Otherwise, the business is going to have you as the bottleneck.
People see the glamour of entrepreneurship. They don't see the struggles, the mental health challenges. Mr. Beast in a recent podcast said that if he had prioritized his mental health, he wouldn't be as successful. Do you concur with that to some extent?
Yeah, I can see why he says that. I haven't watched the episode yet, but from my own journey, I think that's completely true. And when I see anecdotally the stories of the more successful entrepreneurs, there is no balance, there is no rest, there is no mental health per se. It's pure obsession and pure focus on the one goal that you want to have, and that's having the business get successful.
I was going to ask you how to manage it, but you mentioned there's no way of doing it.
It's just like anything else in life. Like, the people who succeed are usually the people who are obsessed. Whether it's running a marathon, whether it's getting fit, whether it's making money, whether it's trading, investing. The person who's obsessed, who sleeps, eats, breathes, whatever it is that they are doing, will ultimately have that success more than anyone else.
Second last question, what's the best piece of financial advice you have for youth?
I think one of the essential things to do is to really learn how to categorize your funds. So money is just like a resource. It's not an angle, it's a resource. And whether you're a business owner or even a gamer or any other person, you want to look at your resource and be able to properly manage it. So the categories that you need to have must be very, very clear. I think what happens is when people don't categorize, then everything goes into one category, and then you start spending, you start investing, you start hopefully saving, all in one bucket. But that causes a lot of issues. If I would do it, I would be very, very clear on the categories. Like, this category would be for like a house that I might want to purchase. It might be for my retirement, maybe a wedding, maybe a holiday. That category would be funds that I will not touch. Another category would be for long-term investments, fixed income, long-term equity growth, ETFs, index funds, things that you don't want to touch for many, 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 many years. And then the third category would be for the high risk, high reward category. These would be things like starting a business, like, I don't know, high debt kind of instruments, like maybe you want to lend money or buy junk bonds, or if you want to invest in very, very risky projects, maybe crypto, maybe a very, very high risk stock. That's the category that the money must come from. But it's a smaller category. The thing is, once you have that category, then you know that it's money that you can afford to lose because everything else has been taken care of. And once you have that categorization, I think it makes things a lot better for people, because now you know very clearly where your money goes, and not to worry about whether or not it's safe.
Okay. So the key principle is to categorize and look at it at different chunks. If I were to take away all your money and possessions, what would you do to make it back, assuming you want to make it back?
I'll go back to the start, like how I did it all over again. The main reason why we went into business is because we saw a market gap. We were consumers in the hosting space. We saw how shitty the industry was.
Yeah.
You couldn't even get support.
GoDaddy, I have to say that, right? Because this is just personal experience. It's so bad.
Yeah.
It's so bad. For a month or so, I've been trying to change just for a simple domain change, and I cannot get through it.
It happens. And that was the hosting industry. It happens in all the industries. If you can just open like Google and look for like businesses, right, and you find any business that has like 1-star reviews, that's a market gap. And you figure out what people are not willing to do, you go do it, You do it better, you do it cheaper, you do it faster. You just have to do one or two of these, not all three, but you just have to do one or two of these, and you have business. You are in business. You know you're in business because the market is there. People are angry. People aren't getting the value that they want. You just have to do and hustle and create a business, and you will be more successful than them.
Thank you so much, Alvin. Really appreciate it.